All right, let's dive right into today's explainer. We're unpacking Jim Rohn's core philosophy on something that literally touches every single aspect of our lives: communication. Whether you're leading a massive team, having a tough one-on-one, or pitching to a crowd, how you communicate absolutely dictates whether your message lands or just gets lost in the noise. Now, you might be thinking great communication, the kind that builds intense trust and skyrockets careers, is just some innate gift you're born with. But here's the truth. It's not a birthright, it's a daily, practiced skill. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can deliberately build that skill. Instead of just running through a giant checklist, we've organized Rohn's insights into a really strategic framework. We'll cover the art of true listening, crafting a clear message, mastering your actions and delivery, and finally, building that daily communication habit.
So let's kick things off with part 1, the art of true listening. This is literally the foundation of all great communication. We've got to start with the internal work, right? Receiving information. Look, most of us have this terrible habit of listening only to prep our next response. We're just waiting for our turn to speak. To break that cycle, instead of jumping right in to fix things, ask yourself one crucial internal question. What is this person really trying to tell me? It forces you to put the phone down, stop interrupting, and really tune into the unspoken stuff. The emotions, the facial expressions, the tone. Because honestly, sometimes the most critical part of a message is exactly what isn't being said out loud. And it's wild how incredibly simple phrases can do so much heavy lifting. Once you're genuinely listening, you have to prove it. Using quick empathetic responses like "tell me more" or "so you're saying that" shows the other person you're actually in it with them. It doesn't mean you automatically agree, right? It just validates their experience. When people actually feel heard, they let their guard down. They get comfortable enough to truly open up, and that is when real, meaningful communication sparks.
Part of making people feel heard is pure empathy, trying to see their perspective even if you entirely disagree with it. Instead of judging, get curious. If someone's frustrated, telling them why they shouldn't be just builds a massive wall. Instead, acknowledge it. Saying, "I totally get why that situation was frustrating," instantly diffuses the tension. Empathy builds trust. And hey, remember that you don't always need to fill every single gap with words. Silence is not always awkward. Sometimes just sitting in that quiet space with someone is exactly where the deepest understanding begins.
Now, asking better questions will take your conversations to a totally different level. If you ask, "Why didn't you finish this?" Bam, it's defensive. It's a yes or no trap that feels like a full-on accusation. But if you pivot to an open, curious question like, "What challenges affected the timeline?" it completely changes the game. It goes from an attack to an invitation. Great questions pull people in to explain their thoughts. But remember, asking the question is only half the battle. You have to actually listen to the answer. Moving right along to section 2. Crafting a clear message. We're talking adapting, simplifying, and framing your ideas so they actually land. So we've done the internal work of listening. Now it's time for the intellectual work of responding. Look, a message that works beautifully for one person might totally flop with another. There is no one-size-fits-all here. We have to adapt our core ideas based on who is right in front of us. Think about their knowledge level, their personality, their priorities, the culture, and the current situation. Someone who wants fast results, give them the bottom line. Someone who loves the details, give them the nuance. Adapting isn't about being fake. It's simply presenting your thoughts in a way the other person can actually digest.
Once you've got a read on your audience, keep it simple. Using complex, jargon-heavy language doesn't make you sound smarter. It usually just confuses people. Before you open your mouth, ask yourself, if they remember just one single thing from this chat, what should it be? Nailing down that one main idea guarantees your language stays focused, logical, and free of irrelevant fluff. Simplicity isn't about dumbing things down. It's about eliminating friction. If it's a complicated concept, just use a quick story or analogy to make it stick. Which brings us directly to framing. How you package an idea completely dictates how it's received. Saying, "we're behind schedule," instantly triggers panic. But framing it constructively, like, "we still have a shot to finish strong if we focus on these specific priorities," changes the whole vibe. You're not twisting the facts here. You're just aligning your message with what the listener cares about, creating a problem-solving mindset. When people grasp not just the what, but the why this matters to me, they are so much more likely to lean in and listen. That brings us to section 3, actions, presence, and delivery, because how you show up physically speaks absolute volumes.
We've listened, we've crafted the message, and now it's time for the delivery. And let me tell you, one of the most underutilized superpowers in communication is the pause. You literally do not need to fill every single second with sound.
Taking a breath before answering a tough question does two huge things. First, it makes you look grounded, thoughtful, and totally confident. Second, it stops those disastrous, knee-jerk emotional reactions when you're triggered. Give yourself a second. Give them a second. It's a total game changer. Think about this. Imagine someone saying, "I'm happy to help," but they're refusing to make eye contact, their arms are tightly crossed, and they have this super irritated tone. The words are nice, but the nonverbal cues are screaming the exact opposite. Your words are just one piece of the puzzle. Your posture, your eye contact, your pace, they will always override your actual words if there's a mismatch. Try to keep an open posture, maintain comfortable eye contact, and let your body language back up your words. That alignment is what creates real authenticity. Ultimately, trust comes down to consistency. If you say you value someone's input, you actually have to listen to it. If you preach honesty, you have to live it. People are incredibly quick to spot when words and actions don't align. Now, you don't have to be flawless, we all mess up, but it's how you recover that counts. If you drop the ball, own it honestly and fix it. Over time, that consistency builds rock-solid credibility. People learn they can take your word to the bank because your actions always back it up. That is the true bedrock of trustworthy communication. And finally, Section 4, building your communication habit. Taking all this great theory and moving it into daily practice. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this. Great communication is never just about sounding impressive. It's about genuine understanding. It is a deliberate skill you build to forge real human connections, not just to swap data. Now, you absolutely do not need to master all 9 of these principles today. That's way too overwhelming. Instead, I want you to ask yourself, what is the single principle you're going to practice in your very next conversation? Is it utilizing that powerful pause, asking a better open-ended question, or maybe just syncing up your body language? Pick just one thing for your next chat, then pick another tomorrow. With a little consistency, this becomes second nature. So I'll leave you with this. What is the one thing you are going to change today to start building your influence?